And what really is, if you think of it, that mitochondria are like batteries. Very complicated and sophisticated batteries, but that's what they are. They're basically providing energy for our bodies to work, for our cells to work, for our brain cells, our muscle cells, our heart cells. So these are the batteries, and what they do is they provide energy. And therefore you can see that if there is a problem with mitochondria, you simply aren't going to have the energy that you need for your tissues to work. So what happens when they fail? What happens when those batteries fail? Well, what happens is a range of different things. It can lead to a variety of different problems. And that's one of the difficulties about mitochondrial diseases, is that the problems are actually very varied. And sometimes people have big problems with their hearts, sometimes it's big problems with thinking. There's all sorts of different problems. Some people develop diabetes, some people have deafness. So it is very variable between the individuals. And why is it so variable? Why do some patients supposedly have the same sort of problem with the batteries, get one thing, and others get another one? Well, it is quite simply because every bit of our body needs mitochondria. And various bits are more sensitive in some individuals than other individuals. So every bit of our body needs a mitochondria, and that's why we see so many different symptoms. The next thing is about how common it is, and you think, well, you talk to your friends, even your doctors sometimes don't know much about mitochondrial disease, and you start to wonder how common it is. To do that, I'm using a picture of this particular stadium, and those of you that, most of you will know, that that's St James's Park full, with about 53,000. I'm not so sure we're going to see 53,000. In fact, somebody was making the joke, this is probably the largest crowd that will be in here. I have to say I have renewed my season ticket, so I'll be there. Right, so there is 50,000, okay? I always point out precisely where my season ticket is, right, okay, right. It's a very nice season ticket, but, although I would have thought it would have gone down in price this year, but never mind. So if you've got 50,000 there, how many patients with mitochondrial disease? Well, it's roughly about 5 people with mitochondrial disease will be in St James's Park when it's full. So it's at least 1 in 10,000 of the population. It's probably more common than that, but that's a number that we've been able to detect by just looking at the people from the northeast of England who have mitochondrial problems. So it is common, probably much more common than that, but these are the sort of problems, sort of numbers that we see. The next thing that is often asked, so quite common, what causes the batteries to fail? Well, again, I'm not going to go into this. On the last occasion, my colleague Dr. McFarland explained a fair bit about this. Like most things, the way we are made actually means whether or not we have a propensity to get diseases. And this is all within our genes. And the vast majority of mitochondrial problems, and certainly the patients that we see in the clinics, are genetic problems which cause the mitochondrial diseases. Again, quite complex genetics, and we're not going to go into that, but that's what causes mitochondrial problems. The other thing that you've noticed, of those of you that have been coming to our clinics for a number of years, is that gradually we've managed to improve what we're able to offer. And this is predominantly because we've now got what we call central commissioning for mitochondrial diseases. So instead of just being scattered centres around the country, what's happening is that we now are able to offer a national service for patients with mitochondrial disease. And it doesn't matter whether you come from Ipswich or from Newcastle or Carlisle or London, you have equal access to care. And I think this has been a major bonus, and it does mean that we're collecting a lot of patients who have mitochondrial problems. And And what this means is that there's a group of us look after and spend most of our time looking after patients with mitochondrial diseases. And it's improved our ability to establish a diagnosis. It's allowed us to have nurse specialists and physiotherapists involved. So it's had a very positive effect on the way in which we were able to provide care for you. But one of the things is that we're wanting to constantly improve the quality of care that you get. And any suggestions that you have as regards us, we're very, very happy to have those suggestions fed back to us. Because, of course, within the budget, there are many different opportunities that we've got. And obviously, what we want to do is improve the care that we provide for the patients with what we've got now. But clearly, the other thing is to be looking at the future and trying to help prevent or develop treatment for mitochondrial problems is clearly one of the key things that we do.